And welcome back to Who Would Win. Yes, this is a pre-recorded for yesterday because I want to spend today. I want to spend, technically this will be on Monday, so I want to spend today doing the Q&A. So I wanted to just get this out of the way, pre-recorded. Comes to us from Jo, and yes, I used the Robin Hood Men in Tights one. Absolutely, you better bet your ass I did. Robin Hood versus Zorro, pretty similar when you think about it. They're people who give back to the disenfranchised, rob from the rich, give to the poor, that kind of stuff. They fight for the people, all that. Who actually wins in a fight between these guys, though? Now, I know Zorro's existed for a long time. I know that Zorro's very well trained. I don't know actually if, say, Zorro, for instance, is trained in archery like Robin Hood is. Fictional character Zorro. Give me 1 second. Because I know he's a master swordsman. Stealth. He's essentially Batman before Batman. That's actually what Zorro was. So let's see here. Skilled marksman and horseman. Okay, there we go. Yeah. The curse. Zorro famously used the letter Z as his mark, using his sword to carve it into the cloths or sometimes the bodies of his adversaries with 3 swift strokes. Zorro is not only a master swordsman but a skilled horseman and marksman, which actually says some very important stuff. Now Robin is also, and he's also not a bad physical combatant as well. I'm looking at all these different versions of Zorro too. Is very interesting. Now, here's the thing about these two, is that they're kind of mirror images. Robin Hood also not bad in a physical altercation, but Zorro's probably the more equipped hand-to-hand fighter, at least if we go by the Mask of Zorro interpretation. Robin Loxley's he's clearly the better archer, but marksmen, that makes them both marksmen. But again, marksman doesn't necessarily mean that if you give Robin Hood a gun, he's the better shot. Whereas you give Zorro a gun, because he's from a different time period, he probably would be the better shot with a gun, but maybe not with a bow and arrow. So it's kind of interesting. And Zorro, as far as I know, doesn't carry a gun, even though he is a good marksman. Let's also not forget that Robin Loxley is also a very good swordsman. So we have to put that into perspective as well. Zorro is great at stealth. Robin Hood not so bad at stealth, but not more of his. It's more that he's kind of like intimidated his opponent, I guess. Though Zorro honestly looked far more inclined to intimidate. The fox, if you will, was better intimidation just by appearances. Both were skilled on horseback, and both were exceptionally good individuals. Now, in a real scenario, these guys would probably work together. I would love to see a Zorro Robin Hood mashup. The problem comes is the fact that these guys are from two very different eras. Zorro is from the early 18 to 1900s. Late 1800s to, actually, give me 1 second. Zorro, let me get an idea when, I want to get an idea when Zorro actually achieved. I know it's like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I think it's late 1800s now that I say it, now that I get more into it. Let's see. Now, okay, so the Mask of Zorro, I'm using the movie as a reference. 1821. Okay, so early 1800s. Okay, so that's generally the time period that Zorro takes place in. Robin Hood can take place in many different time periods within a general time period. It's much more medieval. Robin Hood time period. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Robin Hood. Oh, I wrote Rude Hood. Robin Hood. There we go. Robin Hood time period. Okay, yeah. What time period does Robin Hood take place in? 15th century, the 1400s. There is a literal 400-year gap between the two of them, and the advancement of technology does become apparent. However, let me throw this out here. Okay, so first off, these two, if they actually met in the fight, who would win? Well, if Robin Hood wanted to kill Zorro from afar, he'd probably do that and do that pretty quickly. So, but the same thing could be said for Zorro. So we can't really go into a battle of the distances, because I always hate that. I hate that argument whenever you go into like assassin spies. Like, oh, he just sniped him and the game's over. It's like, the other guy could do that too, right? Oh, no, because no. If one could snipe the other from a distance, it's just as fair the other could snipe the other from a distance. So therefore, you're not having a fight. You're not having a match. Excuse me. Again, I gas. It sucks. So, with that being said, if these two met in actual combat, like close quarters combat, who was the more likely to come out on top? And this is weird to say, given the fact there's 400 years of development between them, but Robin Hood actually stands a slightly better chance because of the type of weapon he has. Depending on what version of Zorro you're looking at. Like, if you're looking at the Mask of Zorro, they have, like, sabers, basically. But if you're looking at, say, maybe more like the serials, he's using more of a rapier, which is a very different type of weapon. And a rapier is not a weak weapon, per se. It's a quick, very efficient weapon, but it's also a very frail sword in comparison. A saber, not so much, but a saber is still a thin blade in comparison to some of the long swords you would have been seeing in Robin Hood's time. Robin Hood, at least from a durability perspective, has a better weapon. But if you're going to ask me who's the better swordsman, I would probably lean towards Zorro. The reason for that is, while Zorro is a skilled marksman, his bread and butter is his swordplay. Whereas Robin's bread and butter, whereas Robin Hood is a skilled swordsman, but where his bread and butter is archery. So if we're talking about the close-up match, where one is a master while the other is just a solid swordsman, that's going to kind of play the difference in the fight, despite the fact that you can make an argument that Robin Hood has a slightly more robust, durable weapon. The saber or rapier, depending on which one you're using, is going to be the quicker and more effective weapon in this fight. And then with a more mastered swordsman, it's going to definitely give Zorro the edge. That being said, I don't see either of these guys actually killing the other in a fight. I think whoever wins the fight is going to be like, okay, you lose. It's like, damn it, just kill me quickly. He's like, no, I'd rather destroy a stained glass window than to kill an artist, great artist like yourself. But since I can't have you following me, boom. Because that's honestly, let's be honest, that's what Robin Loxley. That's what Wesley kind of was in the Mask of in Princess Bride a little bit. He was kind of a Zorro-esque looking figure. Master swordsman, ching ching ching. I know something goes on. I'm not left-handed. I know something. I need to tell you something too. I'm not left-handed either. I love the Princess Bride. I own the Princess Bride. I should really rewatch the Princess Bride now I say that. I kind of want to watch the Princess Bride. Maybe I'll do that later. Because I love the Princess Bride, man. Who doesn't love the Princess Bride? What's just smelling is arcane powder. It's odorless, colorless, tasteless, and one more deadly poisons known to man. Never mess with Cecilia when death is on the line. Oh man, anybody want to be in it? Oh god, I love Princess Bride. But I also love Robin Hood Men in Tights. Even that's the picture I used, and I love the Mask of Zorro. So I love all these guys. But yeah, if you were to ask me again, if this were a long range fight, I would give the edge to Robin Hood. And if someone's like Robin Hood just wants to take out Zorro from a distance, you could do that, probably no problem. Although he'd have to go for, I should say this, he would have to go for a legitimate kill shot, because if he hits him and doesn't kill Zorro from the get, Zorro's wounded, maybe mortally, but he can still fight for a while. And Zorro's going to be on guard after that. If he figures out where the arrow came from, then Robin loses the advantage of stealth, and then you can make an argument that even from a distance, Robin might lose. But again, he'd probably go for a kill shot. Well, actually, worst case yet, I actually see Robin going for a warning shot. Because that's honestly the kind of character Robin was. Robin will go for a warning shot, and then, kind of have Zorro on guard. Although Zorro's sword would be out, Robin would fire another arrow. Zorro would either slice it out of the arrow, or possibly even catch it. Because you can catch arrows. It's not easy, but you can. And I think Zorro would be someone who has the kind of training to catch an arrow in midair, and then quickly close the distance as Robin gets out another arrow, blocks the other sword, and then it gets into close range fight. So there you go. There you go. There's your setup. Because let's be honest, as a personality, or from a personality standpoint, Robin's not someone who would just do someone dirty by shoot them from the tree. That's not Robin Hood. He would do it to kill you if he had to, but that's not the kind of person he was. He was a very chivalrous, upright guy, at least in lore. But either way, I do give the win to Zorro. I think he's just the better suited opponent or combatant in this fight. He just has more skills at his beck and call. He's better in a physical altercation, I think, than Robin is. But again, for some reason, if there's like some weird crossover where Robin Hood's brought to the modern era, or Zorro, probably actually makes more sense for Zorro to rock back to Robin Hood's era and actually wreck some fools, because he'd be a far more dangerous opponent than most of them. I would love to see like a crossover movie or something like that. Do like a 30-minute YouTube video. I would totally support that. I'd crowdfund that. Let's crowdfund Zorro and Robin Hood working together for a half-hour movie. Yeah. You know what? If I ever I'm gonna say it right now. If I ever become a filmmaker, which I probably never will, I'm gonna make a Robin Hood versus Zorro film. I kind of want this fight. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. My pick's Zorro. Who's your pick? Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Super Magic, what if, anything you do on the channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next. I'll see you actually for the Q&A. So that'll be later. Anyway, have a good one.